So the 50-year anniversary of the Long Beach Sprint race is now complete, and we now know where each car finished during the third round of this WeatherTech Championship season. Like always, the race was action-packed, but in terms of success, it was a familiar name for a brand that picked up the winner's trophy once again. So this is a race report detailing everything that happened about the 2025 Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. Heading into this event, IMSA would bring 27 cars to the west coast of California, and this included that all-new Aston Martin Valkyrie AMR LMH, which would return thanks to the Heart of Racing team. In qualifying, it would be Dries Vanthoor and BMW that would take their third pole position in a row in GTP, as Vanthoor would set a 1 minute 11.539 with the second M Hybrid V8 completing a BMW 1-2 on the streets of Long Beach. Meanwhile, Parker Thompson topped GTD in qualifying for Vasser Sullivan Racing, as the Canadian racer set a 1 minute 17.877 aboard the number 12 Lexus RCF GT3. Once green flags were waved to begin this race, BMW would hold on to the leading positions in GTP, while Nick Yololi in the number 93 Acura would jump into fourth for our first overtake, as he split the two Porsche Penske entries. Over in GT Daytona, Thompson would also hold on to the lead in the number 12 Lexus, while Tom Gamble in the 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin would soon move ahead of Rexy into second. As BMW continued to lead overall, elsewhere in GTP, the number 10 Wayne Taylor Racing Cadillac and the number 85 JDC Miller Porsche were in a fierce battle, as Thymen Vanderhelm in the yellow Porsche got past at turn 8, but aggressively defended against the Cadillac on Seaside Way. As the race progressed, the biggest battle on track in the overall category was for fourth in GTP, between the number 93 Acura and the number 6 Porsche, but at turn 11, contact would be made, which would cause damage on the tail section of the Meyershank Racing entry, and ultimately this would affect the team's race later on. Soon, our first caution period of the day would come out after another moment at turn 8, as Misha Goikberg in the number 78 Forte Lamborghini would force the number 13 AWA Corvette into the wall. Thankfully though, driver Ore Fadani was able to get the Daytona winning Z06 back out on track, but this certainly wasn't good news for AWA. Because of the caution period, this prompted the GTP entries to pit for a mandatory stop, with certain cars going for different strategies, which would therefore result in a shifted order. The leaderboard now showed Porsche Penske Motorsport in first and second, with the 7 ahead of the 6, with Renger van der Zande now in third in the number 93 Acura. Meanwhile, the two BMWs which were leading the race earlier would come out of the pits in 4th and 10th, which was definitely not where Team RLL wanted to be, although both cars and any GTP entries below second would gain a place on the restart, as last year's winner here, Renger van der Zande, would dive into the pit lane once again, as Meyershank Racing needed to fix the damage at the back of their ARX 06 entry, and unfortunately this put the car a lap down. Back up at the front, Philippine, who had taken over for Dries Vanthoor in the number 24 BMW, would move the M Hybrid V8 back into the podium positions, while the Porsche 963s pulled away in the leading positions. Over in GTD, AO Racing managed to get their Porsche into first, ahead of the number 12 Lexus which started on pole, and after the pit stops, the number 89 Vasser Sullivan car, which won here last year, was able to join the full season Lexus in the top 3 positions. Before moving on, I do want to highlight what a great job Robert Wickens did on his debut in the main WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. After his spinal cord injury at an IndyCar event in 2018, Wickens made his first appearance in the WeatherTech series here at Long Beach for DXDT Racing, and with the assistance of Bosch's electric braking system, he performed great, and he actually ended up setting the fastest time out of any of the 16 GTD entries here in Practice 2. And during his first race here, he performed an amazing stint aboard the number 36 Corvette, before giving the car over to his teammate Tommy Milner for the remainder of the race. So overall, a very impressive weekend for Canadian racer Robert Wickens on his very first appearance in the main IMSA series, and it just goes to show that he is still a very talented racer. Staying with GTD, and with an hour to go, there was some great racing, including cars from 10th to 14th in class. Involved in the battle was Tommy Milner, who had just taken over for Robert Wickens as I'd mentioned before, and he was holding up the 4 cars behind until the number 66 Gradient Racing Ford Mustang got past, with the Wright Motorsports Porsche also getting into the fight. But as you can see, Milner successfully stayed ahead in the DXDT Corvette. So just truly awesome racing amongst all these cars in GTD, and it just highlights how competitive the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach is. Back in GTP, there was drama for a Porsche 963, but not one of the two out in front, but the number 85 JDC Miller Motorsports entry, which was tagged by a GTD Aston Martin at turn 6. Even though the car lost the tail section, former Minardi F1 driver Jimmy Bruni was thankfully able to return to the pits and get that car back in the race. But still, this was an unfortunate situation for a car that looked very competitive across this event. Oddly enough, this was a similar incident to what happened last year with the same car at the same track and at the exact same corner, as in 2024, the 85 Porsche was put into the wall by the number 10 Wayne Taylor Racing Acura. So a weird coincidence for sure, and I'm sure not the outcome JDC Miller Motorsports were hoping for. Hopefully though, they'll bounce back stronger with a bigger result next time out at Laguna Seca. As the race progressed, Porsche Penske Motorsport continued to lead in positions 1 and 2, while Philippine held on to 3rd in the BMW, but he was rapidly losing time to the 2 factory 963 entries. Meanwhile, the second BMW, the number 25 car, was moving towards the front in GTP, as soon driver Marco Wittmann got past Ricky Taylor's number 10 Cadillac into 5th overall, and he soon hunted down the next Cadillac for 4th. During this weekend, it was clear that BMW truly had a fast car here at Long Beach, but ultimately, at this stage, the M-Hybrid V8s were no match for the consistent performance and strategy of the 2 Porsche Penske cars, as no one challenged either 963, and interestingly, no caution periods would impact the top 3 in both classes. Eventually, when the checkered flag was brought out, it would be the number 7 Porsche Penske that would cross the line in first for a 3rd time in a row in IMSA competition, as Porsche Penske Motorsport won in Long Beach and continued to show their domination of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, as they remain the only team to have won overall in 2025. Felipe Nasr and Nick Tandy would celebrate a win at the 50-year anniversary of the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, as Porsche Penske repeats their success from 2 years ago in 2023, when the 963 won for the very first time in sports car endurance racing. Meanwhile, the number 6 Porsche Penske would finish runner-up to the 7 once again, to complete back-to-back 1-2 results for this team. Then, completing the podium would be Dries Vanthoor and Philippine. Not the day BMW were looking for, considering that they arguably had the fastest car heading into this race, but nevertheless, BMW M Team RLL would pick up their first podium of the season, with the number 24 car in 3rd. Cadillac's best finish would be the number 31 Whelen Engineering car from Action Express Racing finishing in 4th, while the number 25 BMW would complete the top 5 in GTP. Before moving on, I want to mention some quick notes on some other entries in GTP. Well done to Aston Martin and the Heart of Racing team, as once again the Valkyrie AMR LMH would survive to the end of the race and finish in the points. So a solid debut in IMSA GTP competition for Aston Martin. Meanwhile, it would be a disastrous end for Acura at their home race, as the number 60 car would finish in 9th, while the number 93 would come home in a lonely P11 after finishing a lap down due to the earlier issues. So certainly not the day that Acura and Meyershank Racing were looking for, but hopefully they'll bounce back stronger in the next one. Overall, it was a really good day for Porsche in general, as it would be Rexy on top in Long Beach, with Johnny Edgar and Lawrence Vanthoor winning in the number 177 AO Racing Porsche. Heading into this event, AO Racing were looking to do exactly what Vassar Sullivan Racing did last year, and win here with a one-off participation in GTD for their professional class entry, and they were successful in doing that. Meanwhile, even though Vassar Sullivan Racing didn't achieve their third win in a row here at Long Beach, they did come home with a successful result, with both Lexus entries on the podium, with the number 12 car in second, with the 89 just behind in third. Then came the Sebring winning Windward Racing Mercedes in fourth, and finally, completing the top 5 in this category would be the number 96 Turner Motorsport BMW M4. Let's now take a look at the championship standings heading out of Long Beach. In GTP, the number 7 Porsche Penske extends its lead in the championship with 1,140 points. The number 6 Porsche is a further 123 points behind in second, with the number 24 BMW jumping into third after its podium finish. Then comes the first of the Cadillacs, with the number 31 Whelen entry in fourth, followed by the number 60 Meyer-Shank Racing Acura, which is tied on points with the number 25 BMW from Team RLL, which is in sixth. Following those entries is the number 10 Wayne Taylor Racing Cadillac, then the number 93 Meyer-Shank Racing Acura, the number 85 JDC Miller Porsche, and finally completing the top 10 is the number 40 Wayne Taylor Racing Cadillac. Obviously, there's no changes to the categories of LMP2 or GTD Pro, as the classes weren't present here at Long Beach. Moving on to GTD, and at the top is last year's champions, Windward Racing, with their number 57 Mercedes having 994 points so far. A further 91 points behind is the number 12 Vassar Sullivan Lexus, with the number 27 Heart of Racing Aston Martin completing the top 3. Then comes the number 120 Wright Motorsports Porsche, and then the number 96 BMW completes the top 5. The winners of the Rolex 24 Daytona AWA are placed in 6th with their number 13 AWA Corvette, with the number 70 Inception Ferrari following the Z06. Then comes the number 32 Korthoff Competition Motors Mercedes, then the number 34 Conquest Ferrari, and finally it's the number 78 Forte Lamborghini that completes the top 10 in GT Daytona. So that officially completes my race report of the 2025 Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. What did you think about this event? And will Porsche Penske Motorsport continue their IMSA GTP domination? In about a month comes the next race, which is one of my favorites, as IMSA heads up the California coastline to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for the Motul Corse de Monterey happening in May. For those interested in endurance racing, I suggest subscribing if you haven't already, because I provide consistent updates on everything WEC, IMSA, and Intercontinental GT. For more videos to watch, check out the options displayed on screen. But for now, that's it for me. Thanks for watching.